And we're live back on Facebook on this lovely Wednesday morning. Hey, Merlea.
Morning, Rachel. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm I'm great. I've been having fun uh, looking at some old pictures on what we're going to talk about today. So,
Well, yeehaw, right?
oh, it is. We are going to talk about Texas Spectacular today. Isn't that going to be
Mhm.
fun?
Gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Texas. This one has been rescheduled a couple times. And this next trip will be going October 9th through the 21st of
Right.
2022. Merlea is going to be your travel host for this trip, so she's here to talk all about it today with us.
Yep.
So I can't wait to hear what I learned today because it's always something.
See what we're going to do for fun. Last year we went West Coast in the fall, in early fall, in August, in Oregon. We went East Coast in October for New England fall foliage. This fall, we're going to get out of raking leaves and we're going to do to our South Coast, all the way to South Padre Island for a few days. So it's going to be all we got to do is northern Minnesota for that border, and we're going to hit all four borders
That's
on it.
right. That's right.
No, but
Stay
it's going to be
tuned.
fun. Yeah, Texas is a huge state. Anybody that's ever studied it, even though Alaska's bigger, they still say they're the biggest state in the lower 48. So I guess we'll call it that way. But we're going to start out with some fun things because I always like to try to trip you up a little bit. We're
Thank
talking
you.
about Texas songs. You think of Texas and you think cowboys, you think Longhorns, you think the Rio Grande, cowboy boots, Texas two-step. But what about Texas songs? Name me a Texas song.
So with Texas in the title, I'm going with all my exes live in Texas. Don't
That's
make me sing it though. Do not make me sing it.
as I was going to say, especially if you're a two-stepper. I said you've got to. That's one of the funny ones. My exes don't happen to live in Texas, but I mean, it's just kind of it's one of those. It's a cute one. Do you know? And I guess it started out because yesterday I was pulling some things out, and all of a sudden I was humming the Yellow Rose of Texas. And Terry said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, we're going to talk about Texas tomorrow." I said, "I'm humming along to Alexa here." So, it's like crazy, crazy in our house. Anyway, I did just some fun research because I like to do that kind of stuff. In 2003, the Austin Chronicle estimated there had been over, now you're not going to believe this, 3,500 songs written about the Lone Star State, Texas.
Wow.
3,500 songs.
I don't
Can
think
you
I
imagine?
can name all of them.
I was shocked. But let's just to give you a few of kind of favorite ones. I ran off like 50, but just a few. Waltz Across Texas, which is a real big one, especially if you're a dancer. Deep in the Heart of Texas. Da, 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 da. Deep in the heart of Texas. Yellow Rose of Texas. And then some different ones you don't think about. Red River Valley. El Paso. How about if you're going to play in Texas, you got to have a fiddle in the band by Alamo.
Yes.
You don't think about it. In one called Dime Store Cowgirl, some of these that aren't Texas with the name, but then with songs. There's Austin and Galveston and Corpus Christi and Houston and El Paso and Abilene. And Does Fort Worth cross your mind? Amarillo by Morning.
Yes, good one.
San Antonio Rose. Then Home on the Range, that every kid, at least my age, grew up singing. And one that I didn't realize was the Lone Ranger theme.
No kidding.
The theme music for the Lone Ranger was the 1812 Overture kind of, but that was taken over and they credit the Lone Ranger theme to Texas also. Isn't that wild?
That is.
Yeah, it's just some kind of fun. I mean, I guess, they say if you go big and go Texas.
That's right.
So we're gonna go big and go Texas.
I love it.
A couple other facts about the Lone Star State, since we're gonna head down that direction. The state flower is the bluebonnets, and let me tell you, in the spring, It's field after field after field. We tend to come through there lots of times in the spring when we're coming home, and it's unbelievable. It's just waves and a sea of blue waving out there. But they have 8 state animals. I mean, go big and go Texas. They kind of combined it. It represents the diversity down there in the ecosystem. So they've combined everything. But the northern mockingbird, the 9-banded amarillo, the Texas longhorn, can't forget that one. The Mexican free-tailed bat. Now I don't want to see that one. It really looks nasty. Then the blue lacy. Do you know what a blue lacy is?
No, I
have the slightest idea till I researched it. It's a dog, but it's a combination greyhound, bloodhound, and coyote has made the breed the blue lacy. Beautiful, beautiful animals when you see a picture of them.
No.
The Texas horned lizard, monarch butterfly, and the Guadalupe bass. So, where we have a state bird, a state fish, they call it state animals.
They're just going to take them all.
Yeah, I guess, they do it under one big fun thing, and that's just kind of how they do it, but anyway, so much for a little bit of fun and talking.
Awesome.
And odds and ends and all those things, it's kind of like balancing redox equations in chemistry, one of those things that you have to learn or or you hear about and you never use again or want to know about.
Now, Merlea, have you been to most of the major cities in Texas?
Major ones we did. In fact, we came through Amarillo just a month ago. Or not a month ago, the first part of this month, I guess. It's still March, isn't it? I've been to a couple of these. A couple of them I haven't been, so we're going to explore them all together. Always different stops when we do things, because when there's 2 of you rather than motor coach full, it's a little different. We do some little things, but it's a fun area. Texas is going to be nice and warm. We aren't going to have to be thinking Iowa cold and bundling up. It'll be in the 70s, high 70s possibly when we get down to Padre. So it's going to be, you can still have your comfy summer stuff out and take your flip-flops with you when we're doing it. So October 9 to 11 this fall, we are going to have Texas Fun in the Sun. After we pick everybody up, on day 2, our first stop is going to be Hugo, Oklahoma. This was at one time called Circus City, USA. It has a lot of circus performers there. We are going to see the unique cemetery where some of the circus performers are buried. We think so often we think Florida for the circus home, but Texas, especially if you're a reader, and I'm a reader, it's amazing the number of stories you hear that they talk about the circus and the circus performers wintering there.
Wow.
So it's been a place in Hugo. However, again, Hugo, that only puts us 9 miles north of the Texas border that first night, or that first time in Texas. It'd be second day, day 2. So only be 9 miles north of the Texas border there in Hugo. But it was founded, it's a little bitty town, about 5,400 people. It's not very big. But it was named after the French novelist Victor Hugo. Which is one thing. Okay, Texas, Oklahoma. And they are adjacent to Goodland Academy, which is one of the oldest schools west of the Mississippi, founded in 1848. So it's, kind of one of those things you don't like to know, but it's kind of fun and a little different. And it's kind of a unique little town where we're going to go. Day 3, we're going to head on down to College Station, which is the George Bush Sr. Library and Museum, Presidential Library and Museum. We're going to stop there and have a tour and see that. We're going to go overnight. If that's going to be a good time to be using your presidential passport for the presidential museum. We've talked about it before. This is not for the older ones, but Bush Senior's in there. There's a whole page on it. You can get your page stamped right down here saying the date you've been at the museum. If you don't have one of these, you can always buy one at that museum. These are something new, along with the Lighthouse passport and some other things. But it's just to prove you've been there. It's kind of fun to go through the presidential libraries and museums and get your passport stamped. So HW, we're going to be down there and get a chance to do that. That is also one of the top. It's one of the top 10 Texas attractions. in the great big state. They have over 43 million pages of documents there from him. I mean, it's just blows your mind. Absolutely blows your mind.
We were just talking about printer cartridges. Now let's do some math there to think about
Yes.
all of the ink.
A lot of things. And it's printed pages. I mean, it's printed pages. It's just, it's been. They also have a whole section dedicated to Barbara Bush, which I love seeing the president's wives' gowns and the sections that, that really give some oomph to those wives. So it's time, to do that. Day 4, we are on our way to South Padre. We're going to sit out there for 3 days in South Padre and enjoy the water. Padre sticks straight out. I'm going to put some pictures on my Facebook page for those of you the Facebook page you want to click on and see. I'll put some pictures up for you, and some pictures. Some of them maybe Terry and I down in some of these areas, but you'll see more of what they look like. Padre sticks straight out, so it's not very wide. So basically, you kind of are seeing the water on both sides when you're there. But we're going to do double-decker cruise boat, Murphy's Law. So we're going to do 4-hour narrated cruise to Brownsville, to the port of Brownsville and back on it, where we'll see the cargo vessels and a lot of things with that. We're going to do the South Padre Birding and Nature Center. Huge, with beautiful walkways down there for the birds and nature. A lot of bird watching, of course, if you don't get birds and blooms or any of those things. A lot of people go to Padre in that area for bird watching with it. We're going to do a dolphin watch cruise while we're down there. We'll do the sea turtle rehab center for the sea turtles and see everything on how they're rehabbing them and protecting the sea turtles and things, and then some kind of fun things also. Mm-hmm. You gotta have some fun things tucked in. We're going to be staying where good places for happy hours. And let me tell you, when you get down there, the margaritas are nothing like you get here.
Really? You're
in southern Mexico territory down in through there. So the Mexican food and everything are just fun. We're going to leave.
It's morning, but they still sound good. So
it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
So on Saturday the 15th, we're going to take off from Padre and make our way up to San Antonio. We're going to stop in Harlingen. We will do the Iwo Jima Memorial and Museum there in Harlingen. It's moving. It's very much worth seeing. Then San Antonio, we're going to do 3 nights on the Riverwalk. Love San Antonio. We really do. Nice thing about San Antonio is, especially that downtown area where we're going to be around the Riverwalk, it's very easy to get around. Mm-hmm. Things are close. In order to do, we're going to do an audio guided tour of the Alamo, which will surprise people and move people. We're going to do the IMAX movie with the Alamo, The Price of Freedom, so you can kind of get, the touch of a little bit more how they did it. We'll have a step-on guide for the highlights of San Antonio. The cathedral, the Missions especially, there's the Missions National Park is down there. Again, take your stamps or take your National Park stamp book, or, we'll take paper and get your stamps from the national parks. But there are 4 missions in the national park: Concepcion, San Jose, San Juan, and Espada. And they're about 2.5, 3 miles apart, which you stop and think, when those missions were built, that was a long distance for people between. It's not much. Terry and I drove it really easy the last time we were down there when we did the park and do it. Sometimes they include the Alamo, because the Alamo, of course, was a mission. And so the Alamo, sometimes they'll say 5 missions in the park, and they'll include the Alamo with it. But the missions themselves, each one individual, different in size, from huge to very tiny. Think Little Brown Church type thing. Mm-hmm. But each one very, very interesting and worth seeing for all the history of the Tex-Mex and getting the freedom there for the Texicans. So we'll be doing those. We'll also do San Fernando Cathedral. which is a historical landmark there from the 1700s, 1730s, 40s. A huge, beautiful cathedral there in town, and we'll make sure we stop there. We'll go to Market Square, which is fun of festivities and shopping and neat things. Going to be staying right down there by the Riverwalk. There's great restaurants. There's Tower of the Americas you can easily go up to and ride way to the top. You get a good view. 2 blocks from the Alamo is the Buckhorn Saloon, old time saloon. It's got the Buckhorn Museum, and also in there is the Texas Ranger Museum. Great fish and chips. If you want to eat there, just 2 blocks. Like I said, corner north and 2 blocks to the left from the Alamo, and you're down there. If you want fast food within a few blocks, you got McDonald's right there on the river. River Rock we'll be on the River Rock and on the river. But there, you want to do it again, you can do it at night, you can do it through the day. There's a big red insignia kind of right in the middle, right on the Riverwalk, and it's a good point. It's about 2 blocks from the Tower of the Americas, 2 blocks from the Alamo. So it's an easy get around city for free time, for wandering and shopping and doing things, but yet finding your way around easy on your own. So you're going to have a lot of time with that. For it. Then, as we leave San Antonio, we're going to be on our way north. We're going to stop at Magnolia Market Silos, Chip and Joanna Gaines with everything. If you've not done our magazines, everybody's seen their fixer-uppers and their shops. And so we'll stop at the shops of Magnolia Silos. We're going to have a step-on guide again. So they're going to take us all around Waco and make sure we see everything we need to see. Going to have time for a little bit of shopping there in the Silo district and some of her fun things that she's taken home. And so neat time. We're going to have Texas dinner. We're going to get some Texas barbecue. You can't leave Texas without some good Texas barbecue. Next morning, on to Waco. We're going to hit Fort Worth for the Fort Worth Stockyards. We've done the Oklahoma City Stockyards. I've never done Fort Worth, so it's going to be kind of fun. Don't know if I'm going to take my cowboy boots with me, but probably may need them going down the street for those cattle drives.
Right.
So we're going to the Stockyards, which is kind of fun. The shops along that Stockyards area usually I tell you, if it's anything like Oklahoma City, there's a boot place that, my gosh, I've got a picture. I'll try to put it out. You've never seen so many boots for sale in your life. I mean, unbelievable. But fun there. Hopefully we'll be there in time for one of the cattle drives going down through town. We're going to leave there. We're going to go to the Fort Worth Speedway if we can get in, and seeing how their schedule's working. If it works, we're going to get a guided tour out there with it, which is going to be, like I said, great for Dallas Fort Worth. A good stop that evening, so we can have happy hour at our hotel. On Thursday the 20th, we're going to leave Texas that morning and head for Oklahoma City. I think probably to top off our trip, you're going to have a good time and you're going to remember a lot of things in Texas. But Oklahoma City, with the memorial at Oklahoma City, which is where we're headed, the Memorial Museum, is going to leave an impression. Not only everything in the inside of the museum for the bombings, but when we were there walking among the chairs on the outside, on the grounds, it really makes you think on things that can happen here in our own country. And it's, again, it's well worth the stop. It's really touching. It's a great experience. So we want to be sure we get that in when we hit Oklahoma City, because it's one of the highlights. Other than the Banjo Museum and the Toilet Seat Museum and the Pigeon Museum, it's the best highlight in Oklahoma City. We're going to hit Oklahoma City and then head our way home on that next Friday. So, Texas fun in the sun. We are going to have a great time. Join us. We still have some space left on the coach. It is booking very quickly. Nobody wants to be raking leaves in October. They want to be out there. We'll be home in time to put your pumpkins out. And yet we're all going to still be working on our tans a little bit and having fun in the sun. So please join us. Give Rhonda a call at the office at 877-694-8687 and let her know you're interested.
Love it. and Merlea, this is another one of those trips, I think, that it's just got a little bit of everything. I mean, it's got the historical component. You've got your shopping, you've got your good food and drinks. You have your outdoor, destinations and stops. So I think about couples like you're going with a significant other. There's a little bit to entice both of you to go and enjoy. And obviously, you can't beat the time again in October 9th through the 21st, you said, of 2022. And just sounds like a whole lot of fun.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Deb wrote it, and she puts a little of everything in one of her trips. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a great time.
Perfect. All right. Well, you heard it here. Get signed up. I'd love to have you. And I know you'd have a blast with Merlea on that bus there. And I want to know if you do indeed pack your cowboy boots. That to be continued.
There we go.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody. Yeah.
Have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.